This is the Samsung A37, and a lot has been said about this being sort of the ultimate budget smartphone you can buy right now. But 3 months later since its release, we've been using this, testing it, running games on it, doing everything you'd expect, and we have some serious thoughts about the A37 that we really want to share. The A37 is powered by Samsung's own Exynos 1480 with One UI 8.5 on board, and the OS experience at this price point is probably close to unrivaled, especially when you factor in things like optimization. Animations for opening and closing apps is super smooth and is generally really fast. Multitasking, you can do this while having a video playing and browsing the web at the same time, and it will not impact in any way. It runs absolutely fine. And best of all, 7 OS updates. So 2033 is when the support for this phone will stop, which is absolutely mad. But one thing to note though right off the offset is the fingerprint scanner. It is a optical, not ultrasonic sensor, and it pretty much failed us 75 to 80% of the time. Even after remapping it, it still continued to fail. So more often than not, we're using that pin. The display is very responsive. It's 120 Hz and there are no jitters, and it's locked in at 120 FPS, which means you get a flagship level experience here. On top of that, the display itself is actually 6.7-inch AMOLED. It's bright, vibrant, and watching content on here is very good. Excellent color reproduction, and HDR is also very good. Brightness tops out at 1900 nits, and when used outdoors, it's absolutely stunning. No washed out colors here and no issues with those brighter days. The display does have sort of an older look to it, especially the bottom has an uneven bezel, but that's kind of the thing with these A-series phones recently from Samsung. On the sound front, it does a pretty decent job. It's not going to get you that rich deep bass or something like an iPhone or the top end smartphones get you, but it sounds decent. In fact, take a listen. The A37 though, when really pushed, that CPU can start to sometimes crash and cause issues when you're going in between apps. We tried to replicate this in our B-roll, but we weren't able to. But day-to-day use-wise, we did see quite a few of these jitters and stoppages and forced closes randomly occur, which can happen because of the CPU, but also maybe due to future optimization fixes that can happen, which is really good. And then when you're gaming on the A37, it's a so-so experience, is probably the best way to describe it. Call of Duty Mobile on here won't run at the top FPS, but it will run pretty well.
We've taken the lead. Enemy down. Predator missile on standby. Friendly Predator missile
And does deliver decent overall graphics with good overall frame rates as well, but it's more suited to the less demanding games. Things like your Mario Kart, your Mario runs, Grim Valor, those games are more suited to the A37 and in particular that CPU. On the battery front, it's super interesting. This actually has the exact same battery as the S25 Ultra from a year ago. It's 5,000 milliamp hours with 45 watts of wire charging, and it's very impressive. In fact, running this through 3D Mark's Lifestyle Extreme tests, you find that battery consumption and throttling on both fronts is very low, pretty much inconsequential when you actually look at the raw numbers. And what this means is day-to-day wise, it's super easy to use, and you're not going to have any major heating issues or battery consumption issues when you're using the phone on a daily. So taking things like calls, texts, browsing online, all that will legitimately make it a multi-day battery. But if you add in things like gaming, capturing a lot of photos and streaming, that will impact the overall battery. That will probably put it down to around about a day, give or take, but still a pretty overall great battery. On the connectivity front, you get support for 5G, of course. eSIM connectivity is also present, and the A37 also puts out pretty stable Wi-Fi speeds as well. And on that no issue front, cameras. They're actually pretty great here on the A37. The main lens delivers really great images with a more over-processed look rather than that classic sort of more natural look, which is essentially Samsung style. The dynamic range is great, vivid colors, decently sharp too, and 2x video photos can be somewhat soft, which doesn't mean they're bad, but they can look a little softer versus the 1x. Video output here is 4K and it looks great with vibrant colors, excellent detail, and strong dynamic range. Stabilization here is also good with panning and zooming well delivered. There is the odd wobble here, but nothing to be concerned about. The ultra wide is underwhelming. It's an 8 megapixel sensor, and you can see the limitations right away. Images out of the lens are pretty average at best, but it's not really recommended that you rely on it. The third lens is a macro lens. Boo. It's a complete gimmick here. Output is only okay at best. It's very, very temperamental whether you can actually capture the right image you actually want when you want to capture it. But for me, I would drop the macro and ultra wide, chuck in a telephoto, and you got a really, really good camera system. The front sensor is actually pretty good within well-lit environments. Skin tones are nice and natural looking with no beauty filters here, and the general output here is very good. Stick to the main lens and the front lens, and you'll be good on the A37's cameras. One thing to note about the A37 is its build. It's protected up front by Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, and then the frame itself is actually plastic. But overall, this is a very good phone. Really great for streaming content. The main lens captures really good images. Display is very, very good. But the question we would pose, is that RRP of 459 worth more than what you would pay for the base storage and the base level Nothing Phone 4a and Poco X8 Pro? Personally, no. Those two phones are far more capable than this A37. But let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on the A37. Is that price increase nearly £100 justified versus last year's A36?